SAAKB, first, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. As we speak, what part of the world are you in right now?
I'm actually in central New Jersey. I'm in Woodbridge Township, New Jersey.
How are things going there? Because as we speak, COVID-19 is affecting people around the world, and people are in different stages. Cities are in different stages. How is it there, and how are you doing personally throughout all this?
Well, I'm great. It's COVID has allowed me to take a step back and really reevaluate life and what I want to do and what I really want. And it's given me time to really just to slow down and to think about the things that are important. Over here in Jersey, it's been slowly opening up. Schools are starting to open up. I have nephews and nieces, and they're going to school a couple of days a week. Live events are still off limits, unfortunately, but I've seen some people do like outside acoustic gigs with like social distanced audience, which is cool. So as long as the weather is relatively cool or relatively warm, we should be able to continue doing outdoor live events.
How are you doing, again, personally? Because it's not just with COVID. I mean, racism has been spoken about in a different manner these days. These days, the things that we see on social media, the posts that are happening, you just never know who is saying what these days. Also, people are fighting masks, versus not wearing a mask. And then, not to turn things political, I mean, we just, here in Canada, just watched the debate there. I have no idea what you guys could be thinking right now. I mean, for you personally, with all of this going on, I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's kind of funny that folks in Canada watch the debates. I guess they find it entertaining. Honestly, we find it entertaining as well. It's who knows what to believe at this point. It's really unbelievable. I can say that everything that's been happening, everything that we're seeing in the news for the last 6-7 months has been pretty unbelievable. So I wouldn't be shocked at this point if like aliens came down and we made first contact. So to be another Tuesday at that point.
It's a tough thing out there, but you're still creating music, so congratulations on that, because we've got a single to talk about. But I'm just curious though, because of everything that's been going on, has it affected the way you write songs now? Is it different from, say, before COVID to now? Is your songwriting different, do you think?
I would think the content is.
That's what I mean, yeah.
The content is different because I'm in a good place in my romantic relationship. So, pre-COVID, I was working with this group of producers, and I was working nonstop. Let's say that I would be working 12 hours, 13 hours a day, and pumping out a lot of music, and I didn't have any time for my personal life, for my social life. So, the content of the songs were a little bit darker, a little bit more melancholic. Melancholy. At this point, things are a bit happier. I'm writing happier songs because I'm in a happier place. And it's strange, it took COVID, it took the world shutting down for me to be happy, which is, I find that kind of weird, but it's a blessing, I think.
I know. You know what? It's funny because I found that it's either been one side or the opposite side. So I'm glad that you're on the good side and dealing with everything that's been going on. But, we should get to the music and, the love of music and this new single. But I got to say straight off the bat, man, you have an incredible voice.
Thank you.
Love the texture of your voice. I mean, seriously, were you born with that voice or what?
I think it's just because I've been singing my entire life. I grew up listening to Michael Jackson and studying his voice and mimicking him. So I just over time my voice just it morphed into that sort of texture, and I've always loved voices artists who had those have that type of voice and have that type of texture to their voice. The Justin Timberlakes, the Neos, Bruno Mars, Weeknd, like everyone who has that type of texture to the voice, I would study them, see how they're using it, and try to mimic them, and then incorporate it into my own style.
But as you talked about before, content. Your content is about relationships and romance. It's something we don't get a lot of. Why did you decide to go down that road?
You know what? Nowadays we're getting a lot of darker stuff. Especially, considering Weekend stuff is incredibly dark, and I wanted to do something that I saw that there was something missing. I think that love songs are we don't get the same type of love songs that we got in the 80s and 90s and even early 2000s. So, and that's the type of music that I grew up on, that I loved, and the music itself has influenced the way that I think and the way that I am in my personal relationships. So, and I think music has that type of influential strength. So I wanted to just fill in that gap and remind people that you can love. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to be dark and you don't have to hate the world. That things can be good.
When did you know that this was your calling? When did you figure that all out?
It's hard to say. It really is. I mean, I've been doing this my entire life. As I said before, what I realized was, I was not happy not doing music. So even if I'm doing music as a hobby, if it's just me on my computer making music, writing songs, that makes me happy. Sharing it to the world is just an added benefit. We're lucky, right? We have Instagram and we have access to Spotify and we have SoundCloud and all these platforms that allow us to share our content, which we didn't have 20 years ago. So as an artist, I feel very blessed that as an independent artist, especially, that I can write songs and share them that night. I did that last night, actually. I wrote a song, I recorded it, and I put it on SoundCloud. It's a verse and a chorus, but you weren't able to do that even 10 years ago. So I've always wanted to do this, and I'm blessed to be able to.
Who are folks that many of us would probably know that you shared the stage with? I don't. There's no one notable that I've shared the stage with, but there are some folks who I've had the pleasure of coming in contact with. I've had the pleasure of coming in contact with one of my personal idols, Craig David. And let me stop you right there. Craig David, one of my favorite artists. Are you kidding me? Look, on my MP3 player, I got his jams going. And in fact, for folks who are listening to this whole interview on Rudy Blair Entertainment Media, RudyBlairMedia.com, there are bios of his career. If you don't know what this man has done, it has been incredible, and the things that he's gone through. So you shared the stage with him?
Not a stage. It was. I happened to run into him in the streets of New York. I think he was performing that week, and I got to sing a song with him on the streets. And there's a video on my socials of that. No sharing of the stage. I haven't got to that point yet, and I hope to one day possibly get to that point, but not yet.
I gotta look for that video. What was that like to do that, man? To meet him and do that?
It was nerve-wracking, man. Honestly, it was kind of, because they say you don't want to meet your idols,
right.
But I was very blessed that he's a really good man. He's a really good guy, super nice. And I asked him if I could sing a song with him, and he thought like we were gonna like rap. You know what I mean? He took one look at me. He's like, okay, yeah, what you got? Spit some bars. And we sang Human Nature, Michael Jackson's Human Nature.
Wow.
And it was a great moment.
Wow. Who else have you performed with in any manner whatsoever?
So, there's this great vocalist. Her name's Melanie Daniels. She's probably the most notable person who I've had the pleasure of sharing the stage with. Melanie Daniels was she's the lead background vocalist for Mariah Carey during Mariah's heyday in the early 90s. And she is, again, she's brilliant. She was a host of a open mic in New York City called Rose Hill Mondays. And since COVID, and before COVID, actually, it's been shut down. So that's pretty unfortunate. But I've had the pleasure of, multiple times getting on stage with her and singing some songs with her. So that was nice.
Amazing, my friend. I want to get into your songwriting techniques because, like I said, we talk about love and romance. How do you balance the kind of old school talking about love and romance to the new school of, really, I shouldn't even say new school. Let me rephrase that. How do you balance the talking about romance and then portraying the physical part of it too through your music? That's probably the best way to say it.
The physical part. What do you mean, the
love making,
intimate?
Yes.
I actually don't. I don't really talk about that too much. So I think a lot of songs nowadays they're very explicit, and I try not to be too explicit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing against it. Actually, I don't mind listening to the Tory Lanez's or even though he's pretty controversial now, but so was R. Kelly. R. Kelly was a very explicit person. He's also very controversial now because of everything that he's allegedly done. But that explicitness isn't really me. So I don't really talk about love making. I just talk about the aspects of the relationships. I tend to write more about the ups and the downs of the relationships.
But you realize, and this is why I'm saying this, because we're going to get into your new single in a couple of minutes, though. I don't know if you realize it or not, but from what I was picking up on in listening to your music is, you do talk about relationships, but there is a line of, hey, this is where we wanted to lead. It's not, it's physical, it's the heart, it's the soul, it's everything. And I think that's what I was trying to get at in how you combine all that together. Because really, we're not just talking about two people meeting. We're talking about a full-on relationship, like I said, through the heart, physically, and through the soul.
Okay. It's not conscious, to be honest. Like I don't consciously write to say, hey, I'd like to include some sort of physical visualization here. If it's more, a lot of the times when I'm writing, I'll write melodically first, and I'll just hum things that are gibberish, and then I'll mold that melody into lyrics, and if the lyrics turn into "Close Your Eyes and Dance with Me," then that's what comes out on paper.
I love it, my friend. I really enjoy your style. Let's talk about the new single. What's the new single and what's it about, sir?
The new single is called Move Until You're Numb. It is about, it was written and inspired during quarantine. And it's about just shutting out the world and everything that's happening. We talked about all the nonsense and everything that's just unbelievable right now that's happening in society. Just shutting all of that out and enjoying the people that you're with, enjoying the one that you love, and really, not taking those moments for granted.
Just close your eyes and dance with me. Move until you're numb. Close your eyes. Do what comes naturally. Move until you're numb.
And you said you did this during COVID. I'm just curious, is there a music video with this yet, or are you planning on doing one?
Well, there's a lyric video, and it's an animated lyric video. There's like a 10-second loop of a contemporary dancer dancing, and for some reason I kept going back to that style and that imagery of a contemporary dancer just doing incredible things to this song. I didn't have the patience to actually to wait and shoot the video and wait for restrictions to be lifted and to coordinate something to get together. And it can be really tough. If you write a song, it's great and you want to share it to the world, but then to have to wait 6 months and film a video and market it correctly, I didn't want to do all that. So I don't know if I plan on actually filming a live action version of this, but there is an animated version right now, and I think it gets the message across.
Well, I think these days rules are made to be broken, and you can do whatever you want. The only important thing is getting that music out there, because we need a distraction, and we need great music, and we need to feel good, and you're doing all of those things for us through your music. Any chance for an EP or an album to follow?
That's the plan. The plan is to release. I plan on releasing an album next year, but I'm not sure if it's one album. I'm not sure if it's two. I'm not sure if it's three. As I mentioned earlier, I'm just sitting on a ton of music. It's like I have 25, 30 songs at this point, and wow. it keeps growing because I keep writing. So I really want to piece them together so they're cohesive. So I like to put out projects that would sound good together instead of just a mismatch and a mishmash of songs. So that's the plan. Hopefully early 2021 we'll have an album.
What about virtual performances? Any of that happening?
I'm not really a fan of that. I see the Instagram Live and I see that number on the top of the screen on the top right go up and down, and it kind of bugs me. It's like, if you're if you're playing in a bar and you see a bunch of people walk in and out, it's kind of discouraging, but that's just the nature of social performances and the Instagram Lives. People come in and out, and that's just not for me. I couldn't do it. I'm too self-conscious about that stuff.
Okay, but where can we pick up the single right now as we speak?
The single is on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, YouTube. It's on every platform. You can find it at SAAKB.com, SAAKB.com. From there, you can find all my music and all my social media.
And I was just going to ask you, social media, where do you go for at least Instagram and Facebook?
For Instagram, it's Instagram.com/SAAKB, SAAKB_. Facebook is Facebook.com/SAAKB Music, SAAKB Music. Again, you can find all of those links on my website at SAAKB.com, SAAKB.com.
My friend, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. Like I said, you got an incredible voice, incredible music. I cannot wait to hear what's going to be coming up in 2021. And again, just thank you for this interview. Please be safe. And again, hopefully we'll get a chance to talk in 2021 as this new album comes out.
Likewise, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Take care, my friend. Be safe. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Close your eyes.